Right, let's have a look at a lap of Interlagos. Boring stuff, boring stuff. Okay. Turn 1, brake in on the 100, down to second gear. Nice late apex here. And then, same as always, the middle of the track is the new edge of the track because we're setting up. And you don't actually have time to get all the way back over left. So that really turns this whole sequence into a good overtaking opportunity because there's a whole variety of things you can do. For example, you could overslow here and stay a lot more left and then set up a good run for the middle section. Or you can come in here too fast and try and go around their outside as they do the correct line and take the apex away. So there's a lot of options, and whatever you pick here leads directly into turn 3. And depending on what car you're driving, there's even more options there. So in the Audi, ideally you're going to want to be on the inside there. In some other things like maybe the Nissan, it wouldn't be so critical to be on the inside for turn 3. So anyway, we're second gear, middle of the track, and then because of the nature of turn 3 being so long, we're not following the rule of not crossing the middle of the track. We're just going to go from apex straight to that apex and then hug it. So up to third gear, and then because obviously we're starting with more speed, more throttle, we're starting to get more and more understeer. So I was making the shift from third to fourth really slow, and just letting the car rotate while I was off throttle. So sort of getting up to the top of third gear and just staying there and not being full throttle. Using the curbs here is a big deal. Like really abusing the curbs. So you can see I'm all the way on the curb, all the way on the curb, and then on the curb here. You can actually climb up all over the curb. It doesn't really affect your lap times. It actually helps you sometimes get a bit more rotation. And then we're all over the curb again on the exit. There's an off track here, but you have to be. You can actually feel the curb. The high point is in the center, so you can actually kind of feel the right side tires drop off the back, before you get the 1x. So then we're heading down into turn 4. We're going to brake on the 100, down to third, all over the curb again, all over the curb on exit. There's a 1x there, I'm sure. This is a delayed lap guide. We've already done the race here, so I'm sure almost everybody got a 1x here at some point. All over the inside curb, all over the exit curb. And we're coming into Ferradura. Down to third. Let me just check that actually. So we're definitely in third here. Yep, so third gear. You can use this curb, but it does. You'll see the car hop here, which is kind of detrimental to getting it turned, but there's not a lot in it. So I would say the absolute optimal line is probably not to hit this curb. Then very similar to the Donington Park lap guide, you come through this first part and then your eyes are looking for this apex up here. As soon as you see it, back on the throttle, and then getting all the way back out onto the curb again, and then sort of as soon as you're on the curb, you're braking for the first of the slow switchbacks. That curb can unsettle the car a little bit under braking. And then again, all the way on the curb, all the way to the grass. It's not on off track. I think I'm going all the way down to first here, actually. Second, I think. Let me listen to that again. Yeah, so second for the right-hander here, and then down to first gear for the left-hander. So what I like to do here is apex immediately, so just kind of beeline between the two, and then let it run wide, and then chop back, get back up on the curb, and because it was a 60-minute race, you really want to straighten up your exit as much as possible before you pick the throttle up. So you see I've got about 45 degrees of steering angle and full throttle here. I actually picked the throttle up there. In the race, you probably want to be a little bit more patient. Wait until you got the wheels straighter and then get to full throttle, because you're, particularly in the left-handers, because you're going to be putting a lot of stress on the outside front tyre. Down to second. This is a tough braking zone because you're still slightly turning to the right. But you kind of want to straight line it, so get the car pointing towards the Marshall hut over there, and then brake in a straight line as best you can. And then it's quite important here, I got caught out a couple of times, to get the wheels straight before you get into the boost. Basically, you can get on the throttle, but once the boost comes in, you want to have the wheels straight, otherwise you'll light the rears up. Just because you're sort of climbing out of a dip there, and the crest is kind of here. So as the car just goes light, if you've still got a lot of lock in, you'll spin off to the inside there. So then up to third gear, and then we're just sort of waiting through the apex there, and then getting back on the throttle. That's kind of a feel situation. Like if you feel like you got good grip, you can get on the throttle a little earlier. And then on the curbs again, here you can use this like concrete and grass situation, but you will get a 1x if you go too far over the curb. So once you've got past the curb, then you can move all the way to the right. Second gear. Again, it's one of those apexes where you can hit it, but you'll bounce the car, and whether that affects your drive off the corner or not is I guess a little bit random. Like sometimes it probably works out for the best, and other times it might hinder you slightly. So in terms of consistency, it's probably better to not actually hit the curb there. You can run all over this exit curb. Just be careful, there is kind of a ridge kind of here, so if you go all the way over it, it feels like the car's like falling off the track. So just be aware of that on the exit. And then the infamous turn 14. So from the onboard you will see I'm staying all the way over to the right as long as I can. So aiming for this kind of where this other layout joins the old layout, and then heading towards the Marshall post and turning in just before the Marshall post. And then if you've managed to set this up right, it's flat all the way through. You need to get all the way to the curb, and then it's actually pretty comfortably flat if you get the line right. As we know, if a Nissan decides they would like this apex, then it's definitely not flat anymore. But that's a lap of Interlagos.